So the transfer portal officially reopens for its spring window starting tomorrow, April 16th, and runs until the end of the month. The Miami Hurricanes will definitely be going shopping, so let's talk about some of the position groups they should look at the most. What's going on, Canes fans? Now, before we dive in, do me a quick favor and just double check that subscribe button to make sure that you've officially joined the family. I know that spring football is now over, and that means that we're in a bit of a lull. You know, things are going to slow down, but there is going to be some transfer portal stuff. And then my simulated season that I do every single year is firing up in June. I'm also going to be playing you guys one-on-one in the new college football game. So we're going to be having a ton of fun during the off season. Now, just remember two quick disclaimers that this is not some sort of transfer portal wish list. I'm not going to be name dropping who I hope Miami approaches, and that's because at the time of filming this video, the transfer portal is not officially open yet. So a few players have come out and made it known that they're going to be putting their name in there, but we don't know who all is going to be in it yet. So there's no reason to start, picking out some specific players when there might be some better ones that officially enter in the coming days. And then just also keep in mind that this list could change at any time, and that's dependent on who leaves Miami. We all know that they're over the limit, and there's going to be somewhere between 8 to maybe even as much as 12 more players leaving. So that could change things a bit when we're talking about a position of need where Miami needs to bring in some additional guys. So just keep that in mind as we're rolling through this list. But I want to give you 5 position groups that I really feel like Miami should focus on and go shopping for in the transfer portal. And we're going to kick it off with the running back room, because the big question remains, will Fletcher be healthy in time for the Gators game and for the season just overall? And even if he is ready, can he stay healthy? I hope and pray that he can, because I feel like that he would be RB number 1 potentially for the Canes, but he is dealing with a pretty significant injury. If for some reason Fletcher isn't ready to go or he goes down at some point, Trevante Citizen would most likely be the next man up that would be expected to pick up the slack. But then when looking at Citizen, we all saw that he had his hand wrapped up, and, of course, he still hasn't taken a ton of snaps at the college level. So will he be good to go, or will he even be good enough? With all of that being said, I do think it would be very smart for Miami to look for an experienced running back out of the portal that's potentially a starter, a guy that wants to come in and play in his RB number 1 or RB number 2, especially taking those things into consideration, and also the fact that both Chaney and Parrish entered the portal and left. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of the other guys, Chris Johnson, Wheatley Humphrey, Allen, who should be back for the fall, and you've got Jordan Lyle coming in, but keep in mind that he will be young. So my point being, there's too many what-ifs right now in that position group to not possibly go after a veteran guy that could come in that is going to be healthy, that could be RB1 or RB2, and could just help out that room. Next up on my list is the cornerback position. Now, thankfully, we do still have Porter for one more season, and obviously Damari Brown and Richard will see significant playing time. But outside of those guys, the staff is probably waiting to see if Stafford and maybe even Moo Young step up. This is a huge position of need, and Miami doesn't just need depth here. They need a starter, somebody who can come in day one and potentially play against the Florida Gators and beyond. Now, they could possibly get away with just bringing in one more corner, but we'll have to see. Thankfully, I think it's pretty safe to say that there will be some corners in the portal that would love to come and play for Chevis Jackson. I mean, the dude played the position in college and the NFL, and he's been coaching at the college level for a little over a decade now. He's super high energy. He's a little bit on the younger side at 38, so a bit more relatable in my opinion. So I do think there'll be some corners that would possibly be interested. Next up is safety. And this is also one where I actually feel like Miami should look for a veteran guy who's ready to play. And I say that because the primary guys that we have back there right now are Harris and Riley, and then followed up by Markeith Williams, Zaquan Patterson, and Taylor, with me seeing a lot of snaps at nickel. Now, I know that some of you just heard those list of names and you're thinking, Coop, you're crazy. Like, what are you smoking, bro? Like, we're fine at the safety position. What are you worried about? This is one where I know that I just said they should possibly look for a veteran guy, like a day one starter. But I can also be talked into possibly a younger guy that comes in and stays for 2+ years and just comes in and competes and is a depth piece and just helps make that room a little bit better and adds another body in that safety room. At the safety position, it really just depends on if there is somebody that looks like that right guy in the portal. And that's one of those things, again, that's up to the coaching staff to decide if a guy is the right fit. Not just his skill set, but also the way he carries himself, his personality. Is he a good fit, someone that can seamlessly, transition into the locker room without creating any drama or being a cancer in there? So time will tell with the safety position, but I do think it would be smart for Miami to bring in at least one guy. It's up to them to decide if they want a veteran or if they want a younger guy that they can just bring in and continue to develop. And speaking of if there's a guy that's just the right fit in the portal, I'm going to put a big asterisk beside this one, but maybe wide receiver? Now hold up just a second, hear me out. The reason why I say this is because I do expect the staff to try and maximize this opportunity with having Cam Ward on the team, and that means surrounding him with as many weapons as possible. Now, the wide receivers as a whole do look like they've stepped up. I mean, I personally think that they looked decent in the spring game. We heard good things about them from spring practice. But I don't see anything wrong with bringing in just an absolute dog of a wide receiver. Again, if there is one that's available in the portal, especially if he is a proven, consistent, outside deep threat. Overall, though, I wouldn't be upset one way or another. If Miami decides that the guys in that room are good enough and there's nobody in the portal that's the perfect fit, I wouldn't be mad if they didn't approach or even offer a wide receiver in the portal. I mean, again, pending any departures that might shake things up in the room, you have X and Ray, who are going to be a great tag team out there. Horton might have a breakout season. Same for Shamar Kirk. Plus, George could be that guy. And you also have JoJo. And let's not forget Washington and Nye Carr. So, again, some guys that have serious potential. Some guys that are coming up on second, third, and fourth years at the college level. Multiple years, now under Dawson, year 2, and with Miami. So, I'm still going to put it on the list just because I'm telling you guys, if there is someone out there that's just put up big numbers through the roof, the guy that can take the top off the defense consistently, I keep saying consistently because that's super important, then hey, I mean, I'm just saying, come on down, make that man an offer, open up the checkbook. And for the last one, I'm going to say defensive tackle specifically, and this is going to be for some added depth. Now, I know they already brought in Clark and Cook, but I don't think it's a bad idea to have some extra depth at that position. It's a very long football season, and they wouldn't mind some extra bodies. Harrison Hunt will definitely be the veteran out there, and hopefully Moton and Horton will be ready to go in the fall. I mean, they should be, but I know they've been dealing with some injury stuff. Justin Scott and Artavius Jones will be arriving later, but I wouldn't really bank on them being ready to play this fall. You know how I feel about young guys, just like how people are really hyped up on JoJo and Nye Carr. and some of these other guys that came in the most recent class, Zaquan Patterson, but it's very tough to earn a lot of playing time as a freshman. It's just facts. And I mean, you just can't have too many defensive tackles, right? Right? Some people would maybe even say bring in another defensive end. I mean, again, this is something for me that's fun to talk about. We have to make a lot of assumptions here. Again, I'm looking at this thing just how it sits right now, and then also banking on a few guys that I personally believe might leave Miami once this transfer portal window opens. So let's just have some fun with it. I mean, it officially opens up tomorrow. So again, we might make these lists and then turn around and want to change them tomorrow afternoon. Well, depending on when you're watching this. I'm filming on the 15th, the day before it opens, but I did have to assume some things. So let's just chop it up. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. You can be real specific. So you could say defensive tackle, or you could just say defensive line. If there are some specific players that are already in the portal and you like that guy, there's the transfer from USC, Romello Height. There's the running back from Oregon State. There are some guys that are already in there, and maybe that's someone you're interested in. Put their name down in the comment section and let's talk about it. And feel free to critique my list. I can take it. I'm a big boy. I love having these conversations. Maybe you think that it's crazy that I believe they should bring in an extra running back who could be a veteran and an actual starter in that room. Let's chop it up. Let's talk about it. Let's have some fun. There's going to be a ton of videos coming up, man. All this transfer portal news, that's going to keep us busy for a bit. We'll still continue to talk about how some guys performed in the spring game. And then we're going to do lots of hypotheticals, way too early season prediction and breakdown now that some other teams have had their spring games. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Simulated season coming up. We're just going to have a really good time here on the channel. So remember though, guys, we're all one big happy college football family, but at the end of the day, I gotta say, it's always better when you get to rep the U. Coach Coop, peace out. I'll see y'all in the next one.